Okay, welcome to the Crow Discovery Project, and as many of you know, 50% of this project is focusing on chemtrails and the unknown objects that we see around them. This clip is a public service announcement for so many folks out there who don't understand that chemtrails are real. Now, this first image, I just want you to know, it is the first chemtrail of the day. I filmed this. It's a middle altitude chemtrail. Notice all the blue around this. It's the only cloud in the sky right now is this chemtrail. And notice the clips as we go along. At the end of this clip, I will show you the sky now, 2 hours later, completely covered in because of chemtrailing, and I will also show you some objects and other things that I've shot in chemtrails, because I understand, you know, a lot of you guys work, you have kids, maybe you live in an area where chemtrails don't get sprayed, which is hard to believe. At any rate, this is to show you that chemtrails are absolutely real. Okay, so here is a really high altitude chem plane, and people will say, oh, that's not a chem plane, those are just contrails. Well, this is in fact a chem plane. The humidity is 17%, but I'm going to show you something here. They spray different kinds of things to mix the chemical, and as they do that, the sky really becomes milky quickly. Now notice how the trail is not very persistent with this plane and how high he is. Now look at this plane that I'm going to load. He's maybe slightly higher, but look, his trail is persistent. He's on the same trajectory, traveling in the same direction, came from the same direction as the first plane. And notice this pure blue sky is already getting milky. You saw that little kind of wispy milking look where the chemicals are beginning to mix together, or changing the sky. Now, when the humidity is low, we notice that the really high altitude planes, sometimes their trails are not very persistent. Today the humidity is 17%, so the plane that you just saw reflects what we see a lot, and then this plane is clearly spraying something different. And again, I will show you evidence why this is not a contrail, because I know a lot of people have been told that these are contrails and they believe that. Contrails don't turn off and on, and I have footage of these guys shutting on and off their sprayers, so I will show you that footage. Okay, so here's another maybe mid-altitude plane. I use my zoom on all these, and you can see his spray is trailing off as he goes into this cloud, and right there he's not spraying. As he gets to the edge of this chem cloud, he'll pick up spraying again, but when he clears it, there's a very clear shot of him turning off the sprayer. So just watch him go along here, and it kind of trails on. There it goes. It trailed on, so now he's spraying again. But as soon as he clears these clouds into the blue sky, it's easier to see, and that's coming up here. Here it comes. And there it is. He cut off his sprayer. It trails off a little bit, and now he's spraying nothing. I followed him for quite a while, and he didn't turn back on. And here's a slow-mo recap, zoomed in a little bit so you can see him cut off the sprayer. There it is right there. And then a little residual comes out, and then he's not spraying. Contrails don't do that. You can't just turn on and off a contrail. Either there's contrails or there's not. And that, I mean, that's dismissive of the fact that these are persistent, and that trail that he laid, I can still go out there hours later and look at the result of what it's doing to the sky. Here's another shot of a higher altitude plane, and again, he's going to cut his sprayer. There it goes right there. He cut his sprayer off. Now, these are some lower altitude ones that were laid. I didn't get the planes, but you can see exactly where he cut. There's another one that's even closer in. The sun's right there. These were cut off right there. You can see the sharp edge where they turned off the sprayer. And finally, here's another close-up of a chemtrail that was turned on over the populated areas when they get over the city areas. Okay, so this is where he stopped spraying, and I'll get a wide shot. And that's where he picked up spraying again, and you can see his trail starts. There it is. Okay, and here's a clip of a plane that just basically changes the way he's spraying. There it cuts off, and then I followed him for quite some time, and he looks just like this. Okay, so you can see
two layers. You can see this chemtrail right there, and then above it you can see the chemical that's mixing in and spreading out to make a milky white sky. And if you look over here, let me get a wide angle shot on this, you can see that there was no clouds in the sky today, and now it's starting to just get into these milky clouds that will eventually spread out and cover the entire sky. So again, try to get a shot of this. You can see in between there, that little wispy stuff is actually higher than that thick chemtrail, and it was sprayed at a higher altitude and is now mixing in.
And just to give you a better view, we see this all the time. I want to zoom in. It's a really powdery, it gives the sky a shiny look at high altitude, but these two things are beginning to mix, and the result, well, I'll show you in the following clips. I'll do a color correction on the video so that the blues are very blue and the whites are very white. But these are just now starting to mix, that thick chemtrail that was done at a lower altitude and this really powdery stuff that came from a higher altitude. And when they mix, well, let me load up the next clip and I'll show you the result.
Okay, so as I was editing, I wanted to come out here and get another shot to show you how milky it's gotten. I've color corrected here to make the blues really blue and the whites really white so that hopefully it'll help. But here's the crazy thing. We get these big chemical halos around the sun, and that is not normal. Okay, so over the course of 2 hours, all the chemicals that they've been spraying have mixed. Here's a panoramic 360. I switched cameras to get rid of the telephoto, and you can see down to the horizon, up towards the sun. There is the sun, and actually the moon's really close to the sun right now. It's only about 3 degrees away, we just can't see it. But you can see the entire sky is turning milky white, and in another hour or so it'll be completely closed. And actually down on the horizon there, in between the trees, you can see another fresh trail laid at a low altitude.
Okay, so what I've shown you should be enough for anyone to simply go onto a search engine and search for chemtrails, or go to YouTube, that's even better, and you will see that this is no conspiracy. It is a real thing. And if that's not enough, I'm about to show you some of the very strange things that I have filmed around chemtrails, unknown objects. I'm not trying to tell you these are aliens. I don't know what they are, but I do know that they're very unusual, and they're in fact unknown objects, and they show up when chemtrails are around. I have shot plenty of times when there's just blue sky and got nothing. Every time I see chemtrails, I break out the camera, and quite often I catch these strange objects. So here we go. Okay, here's the first object. It just flashed by that quick. I've slowed it down here. I was tracking a chem plane with my telescope. There it is, which is nearly impossible to do. And I saw this thing flash through. I didn't really realize what it was or get a good enough look to know to stop and go back and find it. So it was only in frame for about a second. But I've filmed other things that look this way. It's kind of like a fiery little orb look to it. And I'll break it down a couple times for you. And what I was doing this day was taking the 8-inch telescope and trying to manually track chem planes. And as I have told you, when these chem planes are out, these orbs and all kinds of things are around. Now here's another one up in the right coming in. This object, which I'll show you a better view of it, it looks like emissions are coming out of it and little explosions or something are happening. But it is tracking, and that's shadow. The other thing is the shadow. The other circle showed you the shadow going through the clouds. But it is tracking at the identical speed of this plane. And right here, when I had it in the editor, I just simply drew a line from this to the plane and ran it in the editor, and it is tracking along exactly. I mean, the line didn't even need to change size at all. So it's traveling along at the exact same speed as the plane. And I'll break it down a little better here, because as it comes in, it looks like emissions are coming off it. Here comes the upper right, and you can see the emissions, and then you'll see what looks like some flaring or some little explosions. And those aren't actually the object. The little tiny dot in front is the object that tracks all the way through. Now here comes the shadow right there, and then it disturbs the clouds as it goes through right here, and I'll give you a better view of that in a minute, it disturbs two levels of clouds. So here comes the cloud disturbance as this object, this tracking with the chemplane goes through. There's the first level of clouds, and then that bottom level, and then in the corner there, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, the shadow shows up again of the object. And here it is in inverted color coming in just so you can see the emissions coming off the back of it, and then the big flare-ups you can see pretty well. And again, this is one of many, many, many objects, but the next clip that I'm going to load up here is one of the more famous ones, and here's the cloud disturbance in inverted color. So I'll show you the shooting orb next. Okay, we got some real craziness here. I've got 13 clips to go through. I shot all day and I got these orbs, and as I was coming in to do the edit, I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw that this thing actually shoots. And I'm not sure what it's shooting at, but there's all this cotton candy looking crap falling out of the sky, and these little, you can see them right now, they're shooting by. They look like, I don't know, these white things with tails. And for the first time we see this cottony looking stuff falling. But anyhow, this orb's going to go into the cloud, and keep your eye right on the orb. I'll clue you into when it's going to shoot the first time. And actually, as I did this edit, I saw it shoots twice, and I'll break them both down. So it's just kind of meandering through the cloud here. All these things are shooting through the sky, these little white-tailed things. Okay, here it comes. It's getting close. Keep your eye fixed on the orb. And there it is. It's shot. Now I'm going to break that down. It shoots again right here, but I'll have to break that down because it's much quicker. Okay, here comes the shot. There it is. I'm going to break it down so that you see it go forward and reverse, and you can see the projectile or the beam or whatever the heck it is shooting. Here comes an inverted color. Here comes the shot. There's the shot. And it clears. This is actually quite a long clip. I've had to edit it down, and like I said, I've got 13 of these to go through, and now that I know these things are intelligent or intelligently controlled, I have a lot of frame by frame work. Alright, here comes a better breakdown of the actual shooting. Here it comes. There it is. Reverse, forward, reverse, forward, and then it goes on its way. This is in real time. And now I'm going to show you the same shot here. There's the same shot. Now I'm going to break down the other shot, and I'm going to do it forward and reverse. I couldn't see if it was coming from the object, but when I did this, I could see that it is. So it's shooting something, and maybe it's shooting these little white-tailed fish-looking things that are just zooming all over the sky. Cotton crap falling out of the sky. Okay, here it is, the original clip. Unmanipulated. Actually, there may be a little brightness. I'm going to zoom in and just run it all the way through to the portion I edited out, so you can just watch, and you'll notice these white things zooming through frames. But by the time I edit these other 13 clips out, who knows what we'll get. It takes quite a while to do. At this point, I can safely say these are intelligent things, or they're being intelligently controlled. It seems to me that they're probably not with the chemplanes. They're not on the same mission as the chemplanes. Otherwise, why would they be shooting things? That's just my guess. That's an opinion, nothing more. But I can't for the life of me figure out why they would be shooting into the chemtrails if they weren't trying to neutralize or stop something. Okay, here comes the shot. There it is, and then you're going to see the second one in real time. It's so quick you can't see it. Anyhow, there it is. Okay, this next clip is of an object falling. We believe it was dropped from the second chemplane of two chemplanes that were the first to show up in about 8 days or so. Unfortunately, it was named Chem Bomb because I posted it the same day I shot it and did not have time to reflect on what I had just seen. This was shot through an 8-inch telescope, and Like I say, we are reasonably sure this was dropped from a chem plane. There is no tether. The tether is packed away inside, which makes it a bit different than a typical balloon, and it falls the whole time. And the reason I know it falls is because I used the declination control on my telescope to track it all the way till the roof blocked me. And that little red thing in there is what I believe is a tracking device with a tether on it that falls all the way to the ground. And this was done over miles and miles of houses, freeway, streets, everything, but again, associated with chem planes. Okay, as I close down here, I'd just like to say any reasonable person that has watched what I've shown you here should understand that this is not conspiracy. Chemtrails are real, and further, any reasonable person should go to YouTube and investigate what other people have shot. We all breathe air, and this is going on across the planet. And although it can be argued why this is being done, many think weather manipulation, there are some facts. And one of the facts is that there are 3 common heavy metals found in lab reports all over the planet that are associated with spraying of chemtrails. Beyond that, I'll leave it up to you to look into it and you decide, because my opinion is that the ruling class of this planet, when they do something, it usually has multiple purposes that it's doing. Not just a single thing. At any rate, please take the time, go check this out, and if you do nothing else and you don't understand if chemtrails are real, I've given you a reason to look into it, and you should be better educated now. And in closing, all the folks have been asking me when my shirts are going to be ready. Here they are. They're available at Cafe Press. The link is in this video. So there it is. Chemtrails are real. Don't be fooled. Cheers.